Welcome back to Good Day Columbia. Time now is 7:13, and May is Stroke Awareness Month, and the American Heart Association is working across the Midlands to make sure that every South Carolinian understands and recognizes the signs of a stroke, because when it comes to stroke, every second matters. Joining us now is Dr. Danny Westerkam with Encompass Health of Irmo. Dr. Westerkam, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Good morning.
We appreciate it. Let's just start off with this off the bat. We always hear about a stroke. What is a stroke?
Sure. There's two kinds of strokes. First is the infarct kind of stroke, where there's a blood clot in the blood vessel in the brain. The other kind of stroke is called a hemorrhage, where there is a blood vessel that ruptures and there's bleeding in the brain.
So what are the major causes of a stroke?
Well, there are several risk factors that go into stroke. One is hypertension, so you have to really watch your blood pressure. The other is tobacco use, cholesterol.
Really? Okay, tobacco use.
Alcohol use.
Okay.
Obesity and diabetes. Those are the main risk factors.
I've always heard of hypertension, always heard of the high blood pressure, but didn't hear of the alcohol use and all that too as well.
Yes, sir.
Wow, those are some important factors to note there. Oftentimes, we often hear people who are really healthy. They've run marathons, they work out, and then you hear, oh, they had a stroke. How is all of that possible if you're exercising?
Well, exercise is certainly very important for good health, and we certainly promote that. At least 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week is really important. But even if you exercise, there are health factors that can cause a stroke. Hypertension is probably the number one, and a lot of people don't even realize they have high blood pressure, so it's very important to get your blood pressure checked on a regular basis.
Let's focus on how you can identify the signs of the stroke, and we actually have some information up right here. So be fast. Recognizing signs of the stroke. Let's start off with the B first. Balance. What does that mean?
So these are signs of a stroke. So
okay.
B is balance. So if you notice that your balance is off, that can be one of the first signs of a stroke.
Okay. And E is for the eyes.
Eyes. So if there's change in your vision, blurred vision, double vision, that can be another sign.
So fast. So F.
F is face. So if you have a little facial droop, that can be another sign.
And then let's go to the A.
A is arm. So if you have some weakness in your arm or numbness in your arm.
S.
S is speech. So
okay.
if you start to have slurred speech or have trouble getting your words out, that's another sign.
Okay, and then the T.
T is crucial. T is time. So
okay.
time is of the essence when you have a stroke. You need to get to the hospital as fast as possible, because there are some very good treatments, but you can only get them in a certain amount of time.
Let's go back to the A for the arm part. Okay, there are sometimes I've spoken to individuals and they kind of feel like a fire going up their arms or something, or tingling, feeling. I guess what's the difference between, is it when your arm is not moving or?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
You can have a pinched nerve that causes some numbness or burning in the arm.
Okay.
So that's probably what you're referring to. But if you start to have coordination problems or weakness, that's a real sign of stroke.
Okay. So can someone recover from a stroke?
Yes, they can, if they get to the hospital in time, and that's why T is so important. Time is of the essence. And I can give you a personal story. My mother-in-law, 2 years ago, we were in the mountains celebrating her birthday, her 84th birthday.
84 the mountains?
Yes.
Okay.
And she collapsed in the bathroom. When I got to her side, she had the facial droop, she had the slurred speech, and she couldn't move her left arm. So I knew right away to call 911.
Absolutely.
And we got her to the hospital. The hospital was an hour away, but we called 911 immediately, got her to the hospital in time. She got the medicine that dissolves the blood clot in the brain, and then she also had a little procedure called a thrombectomy, where they removed the last little piece of the blood clot. She went to rehab, and I can proudly say now you can't even tell she's had a stroke. She's driving, she's back to church, she plays bridge 4 times a week. She's back to her normal self.
Well, that is great. That is great to hear that she is doing well, and she had her son-in-law was there, so that's a good plus.
I was there, yes.
Right. So if someone is watching right now and they know someone who's recovering from a stroke, what should they do? How should they help that person?
Sure. Rehabilitation is a crucial part of recovering from a stroke, and so I highly recommend rehabilitation, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech, but also taking care of your health. So watching your blood pressure, watching your cholesterol, exercising on a regular basis, although those things are important.
And speak to blood pressure again, because a lot of people don't understand how serious it is. What are some factors that affect your blood pressure?
Sure. So we are in the stroke belt. There's a line of high-risk stroke in the southeast, and we are, unfortunately, have a very high incidence of high blood pressure. And a lot of people just don't even realize it. and they need to have their blood pressure checked. And so you need to have it checked, get it treated by your doctor, but also watch your diet, low salt diet, and stay active. The 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week is crucial. Wow,
Dr. Westerkam, a lot of important information. Anything else you want to add? We have about 30 more seconds left.
No, I just encourage everybody to go to their doctor and get their health care taken care of. The problem is that people do not get their blood pressures checked and their cholesterol checked, and they need to do that.
Dr. Westerkam, thank you. Danny Westerkam, thank you so much for being here from Encompass Health of Irmo. We really appreciate it. Folks, stay with us. There's more Good Day Columbia coming up after the break.